There we go. Welcome again, everybody, to our Earth Day virtual workshop. Our guest artist today is Calder Kamin. She is an artist, an educator, and an advocate. She transforms trash into these really, really amazing, beautiful art pieces and installations. And the art pieces, she's got a few of them behind her. And we are so excited to have her with us today. And it's the perfect way to celebrate Earth Day. So I'm going to hand it off to Calder. Calder, I'm going to pin your video, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'm so honored. How many of you signed up and wanted to spend your afternoon Earth Day with me? I know that we're recording, so if everybody could mute their screens, and then if you have questions, there, I unmuted myself. So if you mute yours, just so we don't have any feedback issues, because I know there's a lot of people in the room. But Janelle's going to be checking the chat if you have any questions, if you feel comfortable using that, or just jump in, unmute yourself. Yeah, just so we avoid all that. So again, my name is Calder Kamin. I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas, currently working out of Austin. I'm about to move. I'm on my way to Fort Worth for an artist residency. I'm going to be the artist in residence at a large apartment complex. And in exchange for offering workshops like this to the residents of the apartment complex, I get an apartment and a studio. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also looking forward to later this year. I love San Antonio. I had an exhibition. I don't know if any of you all went at the Museum. I was the artist in residence for 2018. And I created a massive installation about the future and all of our waste problems at the Museum. And I'm excited to come back to San Antonio later this fall. This whole summer, I'll be working on some pieces for a show at Pressa House in San Antonio. So I'll start with a little bit about my journey. Why trash? Why did I get so excited about trash? I get really excited about trash. I have always been an admirer of the natural world. Again, grew up in Austin. It's a very beautiful place to grow up. I loved going to Barton Springs. I was very proud of our salamander and our urban bats, and would sculpt mythical animals ever since I was a little girl. While I'm doing this packing right now, I'm looking through all of my childhood art, and I've been making rainbow colored animals for a very long time. So really nothing has changed. It's just persistence is the magic word for being an artist for me. I just keep going at it, keep doing this. So I've always made animals, mostly out of clay. I went to the Kansas City Art Institute to finalize my BFA degree, and I have a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in both art history and ceramics. About 2 years after undergrad, I had been very fortunate to have subsidized studios, first at a ceramics studio that I was working for. I was running a gallery. And then later with a place called Urban Culture Project, where they'd insert artists in unutilized retail spaces. So I'm walking through this urban environment to get to go to my job, or excuse me, get to go to my studio. And I start asking myself some bigger questions about my material. I'm making animals in clay, but I'm really concerned about the environment at this point, and I'm trying to make better decisions about how I impact the world, my plastic use, etc. Starts to become something that's part of my lifestyle. And I go, why clay? I'm literally ripping out earth. I'm using very toxic chemicals. It requires a lot of energy in order to fire it and turn it to rock. And some other difficult things, it's heavy, it's really expensive to ship, it breaks very easily. Why am I using clay? And around this time, I take up a hobby. I moved to this downtown neighborhood, and there's a little park that I live right next to, and I take up birding. I love animals, but now I'm going to get a little bit more serious about it. And I started becoming more familiar with the birds that visited my neighborhood. Kansas City was an amazing fly-through space for migrations. I became familiar with their behaviors, their colors, their calls. The most interesting behavior, though, to me was come springtime, the birds I would see in my neighborhood would collect trash and use it to build their nests. I am profoundly impacted by this simple gesture. I'm sure everybody has seen a garbage-filled trash nest, especially in mall parking lots. But for me, it went, oh, these animals are using the materials around them, and they're using our waste to make architecture for the next generation. And if we really think a little bit more about what is waste, waste does not exist in nature. It is a cultural problem, particularly in the West. And capitalism, we create waste. We think things have a short amount of life, and then we throw it away after use. Plastic is a very new piece in technology. It's really only been around since World War II and proliferated after that. To free us from having to clean our dishes, we have all this cutlery and one-use plastic. So it's a major problem. So I thought, after looking at these birds, I thought I need to be more like a bird and make art out of garbage. Why not? So the first piece that I made was called the Synanthrope Station. And synanthropes are animals that thrive in the human world. Symbiosis, anthro with man. And these are the animals that mostly are part of my story. I'm especially interested in canines because they are manufactured by man. I have a dog. I spend a lot of time thinking about her, talking to her. Foxes, wolves, dogs, those are all of real interest to me because they seem to thrive around humans. But the Synanthrope Station, I would collect the trash from my neighborhood, make it bird friendly, little strips, and I would put this pod in a tree, and the bird would build its nest out of those materials. And I was saving, typically the female bird makes hundreds and hundreds of trips in a day, only using her beak to build these nests. And I conveniently placed her materials in the nest and collaborated with a bird for my first trash project. Simultaneously, I was just playing around with plastic bags. And I'm talking about crochet today. I became very interested in crocheting when I was in high school. I saw some vendors in an artist market had crocheted wire. And I was making jewelry in high school and early in college to pay for college. And I taught I had a friend that taught me how to crochet. And I first used it doing wire. And then later, in fact, in the early 2000s, Kendra Scott hired me to make samples for her of crochet pieces for her first Nordstrom line out of wire. So that practice has always been in there. And I learned that you could crochet plastic bags from little old ladies on YouTube. And I'm going to teach you today how to make yarn. So I was playing with the plastic bags myself. And first I would twist and twist and twist the plastic bags until it made a fur or grass texture. And that was some of the early work that I did, was I would twist and make like each individual piece of hair on a creature. And I tried to make it look as close as possible to the animal, the colors, etc., matching the colors. Tried to hide that it was garbage. Now I'm exploring color and playing a lot more, and the animals can be whatever I want them to be. I don't have to play by these naturalistic rules. So when I started making the plastic animals, this was about 2014. I moved home to Austin from Kansas City. Kansas City, there's a lot of plastic bags. I had no problem collecting my material. But I came home to Austin and I was very proud that we had banned plastic bags. But it sort of created a problem for me with my materials. But the beautiful thing that happened was I started asking my friends and Instagram followers and family members to mail me their plastic bags. And today, people still send me their trash from all over the world and say, how can I participate? So I now have this amazing palette from plastic bags from all over the world in order to create my animals. So first, I'm going to show you kind of the evolution sort of how I learned how to crochet these shapes and forms that I'm making now. by making a link. And then the first thing I ever made was a jellyfish out of crochet. And then I want to show you too. Now I'm making, this is one of my favorite forms to make right now, are making mushrooms. One of nature's most brilliant recyclers are the fungi. So we're going to evolve our jellyfish into a mushroom using plastic yarn. But first, I want to show you a little bit of what's in my studio so you can get an idea of what these look like, maybe up close. So this is the first kind of floral fox that I'm now making, these hybrid kind of animals. I did a workshop for some children, and this girl said, if your animals are about fake nature, these fake materials, you know, your animals can be whatever color you want them to be. I was like, heck yes. So these two, I'm playing a lot with color, a lot more, really enjoying color. Purple speaks very loudly in the natural world. I learned that, like, for bees, it vibrates. It's in the ultraviolet spectrum. So for bees, it like dances. It looks like they're tripping. This one is called Foxglove. This is the most recent one I just finished. And foxgloves are purple, pink, white flowers. This one recently made all white, kind of like I was thinking again with the mushrooms decay. Can y'all see some of the materials here? What I'm using? So this is one of my favorite things right now to play with, are marker caps.
Beautiful. You're getting so much love in the chat, Calder.
Oh.
People are saying they're gorgeous. They love the floral foxes. Amazing. Someone says, I need these in my life. I love these.
Thank you. Here's a polar bear. And he's made out of there's a lot of Coca-Cola products in there that I slipped in. Wildflower wolf. Got some good cutlery teeth.
Renee is asking, are these pieces made with punches? Like a hole puncher?
I mean, all by hand, and I'll show you what material or what I'm using, the tools that I'm using. It's all everything you'll probably have at home.
Nice.
This is fungi fox. So here's my love of mushrooms. And then this is one of the older works where these are how I was treating the plastic bags, with just twisting them. And I apply each little piece of fur one at a time. Okay. So again, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love the raccoon. It looks like the raccoon's popping out of a hole in the wall. It's cute.
He usually carries a little plastic bag underneath, and that says "thank you" with his little paws. So my friends are mailing me plastic bags all over the U.S. now. Plastic bags are back. The Texas ledge struck it down. I still try, I bring my own bag. I limit my use. I even use, today, if you don't have a plastic bag like this at home, I use anything I have. These are newspaper sleeves. They usually come in fantastic colors. And then my gluten-free tortilla wraps. Hey, I'm going to cut that up too. Any of it, bread. It's different types of plastics too. So you're going to, definitely be careful with your hands, because the tougher the packaging, the more resistance that it's going to give you. But I use anything, can all be used. But so plastic bag, scissors, crochet needles. And what I suggested was at least starting with 2 different sizes. What I kind of set y'all up with is a small size and a larger size. For the mushrooms, I'm going to be mostly focusing on your smaller crochet needles, I'll talk about why the larger ones a little bit later too, but also whatever feels comfortable in your hand. For some people, the small ones just might not feel comfortable. So if you trust having a larger tool in your hand, you're still going to be able to do everything we're doing today. So that, and then the only other tool that I'm using in my studio are wire clippers like these heavy duty wire clippers, and a hot glue gun. And that's how I make all of my animals. So a little hot glue and a little imagination, you can make trash into art. Let's get started on the bags. So you have your bag, and I'll roll it up hot dog style for those in the education department, or the long ways. So with your the ways with your handles. Roll it up. Burrito, right? We're in Texas. Taco. So I've got a tube like this. And I cut the bottom off. And you don't have to be perfect. I work with trash. I can be a little messy. Doesn't have to be a clean line. And I cut my handles off. I don't need those for the plastic yarn or plarn. However, I keep these guys around because I usually turn them into fur or grass. Like, I try to keep everything, and I'll always carry a little bag with me where I keep my ends. So you want to be extra environmental. Okay, so we got the tube. Now we're going to cut down the plastic bag into 1-inch strips. Like that. Just one, check, like, 1 inch, cut each down. It's my suggestion. When you advance, if you're doing a large piece, cut bigger strips. If you're doing a smaller piece, cut thinner strips. But about 1 inch is good for today, and usually my standard. So I got 1 inch, 1 inch little nuggets like that, and then unroll them, and you should have a loop like so. Okay, so I teach kids how to crochet a lot with we're gonna do that today. This is how I taught people how to crochet. So at least have 2 strips, and I like one kind of dangle off of your index finger and your thumb. What age should I teach crochet? Like, all ages. I've had some people that are like, come teach really little kids how to do it. I'm like, how much time do we have? But I am more often than not very, very surprised by how fast kids pick this up. It's more the adults get frustrated because they want to do things right, So you have that one. This is what I call the hole. This is the hole in the ground. And then the other one is a little snake, and I got the snake by the head. So the snake goes through the hole, under the hole, over the hole, and then back through its tail, and gently start to pull them together. Usually it's easier than that. I'll do the next one. So, and then you have your link. It should come down to a little knot like that. I try to make sure that it's even, so you don't have any kinks in your plarn. So I'm holding, and now I'll hold the rest of it too with my bottom hand. If you're having trouble with it, the dangling, I give it a little grip like that. So my index finger and thumb are inside of the links here, and I'm going to add the next link. So got it by the head, and it goes under, then over, out and over, and back through its tail, like that.
We have a
That makes
question.
sense?
We have a question in the chat from Ashley that says, "What age do you teach crochet?"
Oh, I think I caught that. Yeah, it's all ages. Again, I think it's the adults that are worried about doing it right that they get the most frustrated. The kids usually figure it out pretty fast. So we see that so far. I taught one group and they were like, oh yeah, my abuela does that. And I had this whole group of little girls that just went to town. And I was like, that's awesome. See, and then you can show her how you can do it with yarn. There's other people that make their yarn by stripping a single strip and just going around the plastic bag all the way around. This method, it's just, to me, it's a little bit sturdier. It's easier to have even strips. This is really meditative for me to just like sit on the couch and make the parts. So all the animals are parts, they're pieces and parts. Like I start, I'll crochet the mushrooms and the leaves and the flowers, and then I'll put that in a whole little bin and collect, and then I'll cut up all the koozies that are that color scheme for that critter. And so it's tons and tons of little pieces that all come together in the end. I saw another question. What was it, Janelle?
Yes, I'm just, we have someone who says they got dropped earlier in the call and they missed how to start with my cut ring of the bag.
Okay, so you got your ring. Again, we're making our yarn. And I've got one ring that's open, and I dangle it between my thumb and index finger. And I usually, again, use my other fingers to kind of hold it in place. The next strip, take the snake head, go under the hole, out, over, and back through the tail. Like that. And I'll roll them up to, this is how I organize my yarn. I wrap it around my hand. You're starting to kind of get some length to it, or you want to move to the next bag. Have it all wrapped, and then I give a little tail. I take it, slip it off my hand, and then I wrap the rest of it around and tuck it in. And then I have cute little bundles.
Juan is asking, what do you do if you break the circle? I guess if you accidentally break one of your loops.
That happens. Sometimes I'll just, I'll tie it together, especially if it's a very coveted color. So you can, tie little plastic pieces together. You might have those, you might have little knots and tails in random parts of your pieces. That's fine. I clip them off later. If you have any little pieces that you had to tie, I'll clip those off at the end when I'm done with it. But just tie the ends would be my suggestion if they break, or get cut off the one that cut off or unloosen the one that broke, and then just get a fresh one. So again, under, out, over, and back through the loop. And you can keep going. Usually I'm like, I'll once I have one bag done, I'll wrap and make a little bundle. I'd say at least go through 2 bags for what we're going to do today. And let's see, I would say make 3 little bundles, a shorty bundle that we're going to practice on, and 2 medium little bundles for the jellyfish and mushroom. I start again rolling it up, cut 1-inch strips, have that piece. How's everybody doing? Are we ready for the next step? And I'm one of those people, yeah, I cannot just sit on the couch and hang and watch TV. I have busy hands, so this is so much fun to do, and crochet little mushrooms from your couch. Also, if one breaks too, and you've already kind of got a long end, then I just go ahead and go, okay, the bundle's done. And that broken end will be my tie off piece at the end too. So I'm going to show you first links. We're going to start out with some links or a jellyfish tentacle. So I have my crochet needle. You know, sit with it for a minute, kind of figure out what feels comfortable. I typically hold it like how I hold a pencil. Usually with it resting on my middle finger, but whatever's comfortable with you. But you want to make sure that usually your needle is down when we're crocheting. You may do some little twists to kind of drag it through. This is plastic. It can, you know, depending on what kind of plastic you're working with, like this is the newspaper, it's very sticky. So sometimes I struggle with it a little bit more versus your shopping bag plastic. It's going to be probably a lot easier. It's really light and flexible. So I'm holding my crochet needle, and then I also have my links, and I'll start by making a little knot at the top. And my needle is going to go through this. So at the end of your plarn, make a little knot. Make sure there's not a giant, not a tiny, but just good, right size that your needle can go through.
And Geneva is asking, she says, wait, flare issues. What do you mean flare? Is it the plastic flaring up on you, Geneva? We can work it out.
So yeah, you're gonna have you know, I haven't really played with actual yarn before, and I imagine it kind of slips around even more. I think with the plastic bags, for me, it's like a little bit more sturdy. It's gonna sit in your hand. But I have the crochet needle, and I'm I mean, it's already getting complicated. You can see with my hands. But it's only because we're trying to start. So find a way that you can wrangle. You've got your crochet needle, and I usually use my middle finger and my ring finger just to hold it down for this first couple of loops, and then you can start to loosen this hand up just to focus on the crocheting part.
I see.
I'll use my my left hand or my other hand. Find a way that feels comfortable. This is how I do it, but you know, whatever feels comfortable. If even this, you know, to start, how does it feel comfortable that you've got it steady, like so?
Yeah. Nicole is asking, should it be a slip knot like the one you use when you like?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got a little, yeah, I just made a little knot at the top, and it's not too big, but not too small, just right for my needle to go in there.
You just made a little knot right at the end of your plarn loop. So it's already like a closed loop. You just make a little knot to get it started. So you don't need a tail like on a slip knot. You just make a little knot.
So, and your hand's gonna get some relaxing in a little bit. It's just setting this up so we can at least get a few first loops. So I've got it steady, and I want the hook down under the crochet, or under the plarn, over, hook. And I've just hooked, and you can kind of twist it too. You can twist it up the needle to hook it and pull it through the loop. And I've caught the loop on this hand now. So I'll start that again. And what's really great with crocheting is, oops, I didn't do it right. You can pull it apart. It comes easily apart. But it also holds together great. So again, I've got it stable. The needle goes under, over, I twist it to hook it and pull it through the loop. And now I'm using this hand to steady it. Under, over, twist, hook, pull through the loop. Okay, and then you don't like it, you can pull it apart. I'm holding it with the needle hand first. Needle down, under, over, twist. You can see I'm hooking it and pulling it through the loop. And I wish I could come by and check everybody's station and see your hands. If we were normal, I would be walking around and checking everybody's needlework. How's everybody feeling? Are you confused? Do you want me to go slower? Do you need another angle? Are we getting it?
We've got one person in the chat. Okay, Nicole says this is good, but Geneva says I don't understand. And
Okay.
Amanda EC is saying a little confused.
Okay. So goes through the hole. And I'm just, again, holding it down. And so my fingers do crazy things too. So just, and this is years and years of practice, but at least you're going to see it today. Okay. So I'm holding it down. It goes on, let's see, under, over, hooking, and it goes through that loop. And now I'm holding it not with the crochet hand. Under, over, hook, pull through the loop.
Yes, if you haven't crocheted before, this is really just tying like a bunch of little loops, little loop chains all together. For those of you who have crocheted before, you might be a little familiar with how the hook works, and like the purpose for that little end there, that little sharp hook end, is so you can start off inside of a little loop, and then you just basically pull another loop out from that little one, and you just keep doing that over and over again. Alyssa says, how many chains should we do?
Oh, what, this is just to get comfortable first. So we're
Okay.
starting with this, and just think about too, I discussed, I'm going to show you how to make a jellyfish. So here would be the tentacles. And next I'll show you how to crochet in a circle for the crown jellyfish.
Awesome.
So just think however long you want your jellyfish tails, or stop, if you're ready for the next step. Let's check out, I'm going to check the time. Okay, yeah, we should go to the next step.
Okay.
Anyway, recorded. Keep watching YouTube videos. This will be recorded. Keep watching this just for time's sake, though. We'll continue.
Okay.
So we got the next little bundle. And this is going to be a cap. So the same thing, I'm doing the same shape for my mushroom cap would be like for my jellyfish little bonnet top. And you can add the tentacles to it. But that's the evolution. So we'll go from jellyfish now to mushroom at the end. So again, I'm doing my little slip knot. Show that. Just like that. The needle goes through the slip knot. And I'm going to make like 2 or 3 links to start. So under, over, through the loop, under, over.
So Geneva, the loop that she just made is the loop we're talking about. She's asking what loop. So when you first start off you start off with your plarn, which has, it's just like the pieces of plastic that we cut. And at the very end of it, you just tie it into a little bitty knot, just like this. And then at the end of that knot, you'll have this tiny little loop like this. And that is your starting loop. And you'll put your hook through that loop, just like that. And then the rest of your plarn here, you wrap it around your hook it through and pull it through that first loop. And that just gets you started. And then and that's the
That's the
step to,
basics of everything. That's
yeah.
the basics of every, that is it. Once you master that loop, you can make everything that I make. That is all I am doing. I'm not doing anything fancy. Again, crochet needles, hot glue gun, nothing fancy here. It's just mastering that knot will take you to this level eventually. So keep practicing
Yes.
with that.
And Teresa is saying, so are you going through that loop? Yes, we are going straight through that first loop and then through every loop after that.
So I've made, so I'll start again. Got my slip knot, and try to make it not too big, not too small, but just right for your needle to go through. This one's a little bit big for me, but I'm going to go under. I'm going to do 3 links under, over, and again, it's hooking. That's what that needle's for, that it hooks and pulls through the loop. So I've got about 3 there. And when you're crocheting, again, you can see those lovely little loops that you just made. I'm going to go back to my first loop and stick my needle through. And then the tail that's over here, just like I made all the other loops, under, over, hook it, and pull it through. Now my needle has 2 loops on it since I went back. We're going to make 1 more loop. It's okay. I lied. It's 2 links. It's 2 links. So that simple link, and then there's this link with the 2. We're going to pull through 2. Grab the tail, under, over, and now I'm going to pull through both of those loops. Now I'm starting to see there's some openings that all my lovely little loops, and they're kind of smashed around. That's okay. Again, I'm not here for perfect. Nature isn't perfect. So I just look out for the little holes that I have, and facing the direction that my needle is going, I'm going to continue to go around in a circle. So finding all the little holes, going counterclockwise, and I will continue under, over, through the loop. I now have, your needle looks like this. You have 2 links now. And then to close them off, to go to the next one, under, over, pull through both loops. And now I just have the 1. Continue counterclockwise, just look for where the holes are. I kind of say they're kind of like, it looks like little bridges. When you start to go around and expand, you'll start to see that they just have a clearer shape, and you can kind of see where there's 2 links and a bridge, 2 links and a bridge, which you're attaching together. And I'm looking for the holes where the center between the 2 links and the bridge. So again, under, over, pull, and sometimes those knots too will get in there. If you can try to be a perfectionist about anything, is centering when you're making your plarn, centering the knots and making sure they're tight, little tiny knots, just so it's easy to pull through each loop. Again, I'm looking for these holes counterclockwise, under, over, through the loop, through 2, then 1. And I'm going to go really quick so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I just keep going around and around and around until I get the desired shape, and it'll start to, as I go around, it'll start to kind of pucker and make a little skirt to it. And that's where it kind of starts to make that crown or mushroom cap sort of shape. It naturally will get a little tighter. If it starts to get too tight, you want, you just want to have you want to loosen it up a little bit because you want to make a larger piece, because now it's starting to tighten up on itself, and see it's starting to twist in because I made it so tiny. But sometimes I want a tiny cap. I want to make a little mushroom. So I'm okay with that. But if you wanted to make something larger, you need some more links. So you can always go, before you go to the next hole to crochet back through, you can give yourself a little bit extra link. So go ahead and do 2 links in between each link around the each link inside the hole going counterclockwise. So again, I can go do a link before I go into the hole, back out again.
Yeah, I see. Renee, you got a good cap going there. Look at
Yeah,
Renee's
I see
screen.
that. It looks good. And
Wonderful.
a bright yellow.
Yay. I have this like little tiny, do you see this little like itty bitty? I got it though. It's starting to take some shape.
Okay.
So you kind of just rotate it and you find
Yes.
your next loop to make your loop through it. Yeah. Yeah, and for anybody who might be having a little bit of trouble, or you're, sometimes you don't get it on the first or second try. Again, this is being recorded and we will share it. So I recommend watching it again, and maybe even YouTubing some beginner crochet steps. That really
Lots
helped
of
me.
videos. Lots of videos. If I didn't teach you right, there is somebody else online. But for sake of time, we'll continue. So I've reached the end of my little mushroom cap. He's a good size. I think he's cute. So I have the last little loop. I'm going to take it out so you can see. So I've got my final link. I've run out of yarn. I just go ahead and pull it through the 2 loops. And then what I usually do is take my scissors, cut the little loop. And now I've got 2, and then you have 2 little laces. I'll pull one of them through, or I use my fingers to pull one through the final loop and then make my little knot. And I do it twice just in case. If it breaks, that's okay. Hot glue, anybody? Like, just stick it together with hot glue. Okay, so this would be what I would make to, it's a little jellyfish already. Make some more tentacles. Give it a bigger cap. Now that's the start to the jelly. To make the mushroom, I use the same little cap. There's a couple ways to go about this. I aesthetically like to crochet the mushroom stump into the mushroom. However, sometimes I look at it's a really tiny little pieces, and I'll just make the little stump separately. Again, crocheting around in a little circle all the way down, making a 2. But I'm gonna start just showing you how I crochet attaching it, just so you know how to attach things together with crochet. So I've got my little mushroom cap. I'm gonna flip him over, and I'm gonna fan out the bottom. And now when you fan out the bottom, some spots for you to stick your needle present themselves. And I look for some loops that kind of stick out and pucker that would be really easy for me to slip these loops through. I've got my other yarn. Now for the stump part, again, you don't have to do the slip knot for this part, but you can just to steady it, but you can just go ahead and go right into the next, or go straight into the yarn. So I've stuck my needle through one of those little bottom loops that kind of stuck out. And again, going to start, I'm going to hook my needle through the loop and pull it through. So it's just through there. It's just through that first loop. We're already getting started. Now again, counterclockwise, I go in the direction of my needle. It's facing with the hook, and find the next little loop that just kind of sticks out. And really, really simple, easy. You know, what's sticking out that I can put my needle in and just we can go. Not really a serious formula to it. And then again, continue how I was crocheting before, under, over, hook, pull through the loop. Now I have 2 loops. Again, one more time, under, over, hook, pull through both loops. Continue. Find another little part of the mushroom cap that's kind of sticking out, under, over, pull through the loop. And for most of the time, the mushroom really, your crochet loops are really strong, so you can kind of pull around and it doesn't break your mushroom cap. I try to find loops. I try not to stick my needle all the way through so that it comes out the other side, especially if it's 2 different colors. I try to find ones that are that pop, the loops that pop out on the bottom the easiest. So again, under, over, through the loop, 2 loops. Counterclockwise, under, over, through the loop, through 2 loops. Now I'm starting to get the starting of the base of the mushroom. And I just continue in a circle around, and you're essentially, now you're making a tube or an arm. You can make animals with arms now. And I just look for, okay, what's the next spot? It kind of sticks up, under, over, there's 2, now there's 1. I'm just following counterclockwise. Okay, there's the next little bridge hole that I can stick my needle through, under, over, through the loop.
So I would say that there's quite a bit of forgiveness in terms of like creating the structure. And it seems like to me, as a very early beginner crochet knitter, that it's pretty it's kind of intuitive. Like once you start to get the shape, or once you start to get the loops and see what the little shape that the loops are making, then you start to be like, ah, okay, this is the next little loop I can push
Yes,
through.
this is why I am a huge advocate and lover of crochet. I feel like crochet is more intuitive. I've even now to the point where I don't even have to look at my hands to know what I'm doing. I can feel it. But knitting, you have to count and you have to watch what you're doing all the time. And I am not on board with knitting. I just could not knit the way I could crochet. But in crochet, it seems it presents itself more to this. You can make 3D objects with it, and in multiple mediums. Like I said, I'm yet to actually make something out of yarn and crochet. I'm using wire, plarn, okay, plastic yarn. So here's my mushroom so far. And I kind of figure out when I'm done by the ratio of how much I like the stump sticking out by the cap. So when you're done, you can push your cap back the other way. And you have your little mushroom.
Amazing.
And I'll, just take your scissors and trim off the little edges that you don't like, or any other little parts. So again, I haven't used any traditional mediums. Again, why have I given you there's the option 2 with the larger needles. My new material that I'm exploring right now are textiles. Besides the pollution of plastic and oil industries being the number one polluter. Second is the fashion industry. So now I've been making t-shirt yarn. I went
Lovely.
to my Goodwill that you can buy in bulk by the pound, and I've been cutting up t-shirts as well. And just really quick, if you want to just keep exploring other materials, you've got a bunch of t-shirts you want to get rid of. I've been making rugs and oven mitts with it, but also seeing too if I can't make landscapes or the little shapes on the floor that I can place my animals. The best t-shirts, any t-shirt will do. And like I've said, when the plastic bag breaks, I just tie a little knot. Same thing, my t-shirt breaks or I cut it too short, I'll just tie a knot to continue it. But the best t-shirts are the ones that don't have seams on the sides. And to cut the yarn there too, this is really easy. However, I would definitely recommend if you're cutting up your t-shirts to do it outside. Lots of fibers fly everywhere and you'll have all the fibers go up your nose and into your mouth, and you don't want any of that. But I just cut a little bit into my t-shirt and then just rip like that. And now I have t-shirt yarn, and I will continue, and I would do the same thing that I do now and make myself little cute little bundles. But there you can kind of see the fibers starting to fly. Just like that. I have t-shirt yarn and plastic yarn too. So
I
any
love
questions?
it. Yeah, let us know if you have any questions. You can pop them in the chat. You can unmute and ask directly. It looks like everybody's just busy, busy, busy working
Awesome. Yeah,
away.
again, this would be the time that I would walk around and go, has everybody got it? Are you doing okay? Same thing with your other materials too. Just roll it up. The part that's the bottom and the top, you can cut off if you can't use it, and then just make little strips.
Yeah. How is does anybody have a little piece they want to show? This is about as far as I got. I got a
I've
cap
got
with like a half
two.
of a, oh, I love that. It looks like a morning glory flower. How awesome. Um, for those of y'all that got to take advantage of the free needles, those were supplied by two reuse centers. One of them is in Austin, and I'm going to put them in the chat right now. This is Austin Creative Reuse, and they are a reuse, recycle materials center, and all they do is collect and redistribute a whole just a plethora of different types of materials. It is so great for teachers.
Yes, thank you for the shout out
Yes,
to them. I can't say enough good things about Austin Creative Reuse, and Spare Parts is in San Antonio. Support your circular economy. We have two creative reuse stores, centers in Central Texas. Both are nonprofits. I sit on the board of Austin Creative Reuse. Wanted to try to make this as zero waste as possible, and I'm so glad that Creative Reuse could collect needles for us as well as spare parts. But do go visit them, and if you have any materials that you think an artist or a crafter could utilize, those are great places to donate materials. But also, I haven't had to buy any new supplies in so many years, and no Michaels or Hobby Lobby for me. I go to Creative Reuse, and our center is 1,100 square feet. It's giant, and full of amazing materials.
lovely. We have Linda is sharing a story when she was a little girl. Her grandma made rolls of fabric, and then her grandpa made rugs on a loom that he built.
Oh,
That's a great story of reuse for sure. We have some love for spare parts. They have spare parts has been around in San Antonio for several years, but now they have a brick and mortar building here so that you can visit that. They have a storefront.
it's the cutest little retail center. And I also
Yeah.
know we have some folks here from Scraps KC, I think, today. So Shout out to the
Yay.
whole scraps community. I learned this year I read the biography about Ruth Asawa, Everything She Touched.
Hmm.
And I've always admired Ruth's work. She's a creative reuser, would reuse wire and other materials, and really was a steward of art education and tried to get more artists teaching children Bauhaus techniques, just getting them to use materials. And she had no resources to have money to pay for art supplies. So she started asking the community to bring art supplies, materials, mostly cardboard, for the students to reuse. And that became the first creative reuse center. I think the acronym before SCRAP. So SCRAP is now, there's scraps all over the US. When Ruth Sawa first created SCRAP, it was CRAP, Creative Reuse for Artistic Practice. And they went, oh, that acronym won't work. So it's SCRAPS. But the mother of creative reuse is Ruth Sawa. So I'm happy to follow in her footsteps, that it's artists that see how valuable these materials are.
That is amazing. I went ahead and put the Scraps KC website in the chat as well. So if everybody wants to take a few minutes to click on all those and get the links open before we end, please do. And look at these beautiful mushrooms.
This
I
one
love
I gave
it.
like a little skirt to it before. So I made, this one's a double mushroom kind of there.
Oh my gosh.
Gave it a little
Can I,
extra skirt.
hi, may I share one real quick thing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Many years ago, my niece sent me this, and you may have seen these too before, but have you seen the bags that are made out of?
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, and I love this. And one of the reasons I took this is I've used it so much that the flower kind of got droopy, and I've been wanting to redo the flower, and I just couldn't figure it out. And now I know.
Perfect.
So maybe I'll put a mushroom on it.
Perfect.
That's
This one's, I looped in
beautiful.
But it's
spots to it. And then
lasted.
play with the color. Yeah, keep playing with the color and adding new dimensions to the mushroom too. For the conservation of your mushroom, I should say, plastic is UV sensitive. So it breaks down under UV light. It'll start to deteriorate, break down into smaller particles, maybe lose some of its color. So just if you're going to share it or present your art, just keep it out of any south facing light, or don't leave it outside, especially Texas summer. It could deteriorate, but it doesn't go away. It just turns into smaller and smaller particles that we can ingest, and becomes part of the waste stream and water. So but for now, the life though of my mushrooms, of my plastic bags so far to date, things are still around. They're okay. They're still going. I've had climate control. I've kept it out of bright, heavy lights and staying outside. So things are still one piece, but should it be prolonged or be around a lot of heat or a lot of UV light, it will break down.
Lovely. That's really important to know how to preserve these materials once we reuse them. Courtney
I have a
says,
question.
yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Hi. So, we don't have that many of like HEB bags, but I have like large feed bags for the dogs or for the chickens. And the plastic is like super, super thick. And so we were struggling with that. Do you have any like tips for that?
I would definitely maybe play with the larger needles. Yes, your packaging, like I'm using my food packaging. Again, more food packaging. A friend gave me her Dillard's garment bag. The shopping bags are a thinner plastic, more flexible plastic. It's going to be a little bit heavier. You may consider cutting thinner strips.
Okay.
Maybe
we tried that.
About 1 inch. Or just thinner strips, and maybe the larger needle, but it's going to be sticky. It's going to stick. You're maybe going to struggle with it a little bit more. So do take breaks, because I don't want you to, get a carpal tunnel situation or exhaust your hands. But there is going to be a lot more give with the shopping bags versus the packaging or the food packaging plastic, but I use both. And I this, you know, like this here, this is all the fruit bags packaging.
Oh,
And it kind of makes like
yeah.
I really like it for the mushrooms because it makes like a really cool kind of translucent, a little, it has a little bit more dimension than the flat colored plastic. But yeah, these are gonna be a little stickier, have a little bit more tug. So just rest your hands while you do it.
Great. Thank you for that question. Are there any more questions before we end today? Any show and tells?
Show us your shrooms.
Yeah. Oh man, Renee is
Yeah.
just working it. I'm gonna pin you just
Oh,
for a
that's
second.
great. I see Ashley's. That looks good.
Oh,
Thank
great,
you. It's a
Ashley.
cute little mushroom.
Cool. Isabel's. Yeah, look at
Oh
that.
wow,
Isabel, it looks
Isabel.
good.
Great job.
You can just trim off the little extra parts when you're done. Or again, if you know, if your little plastic knot came apart, grab your hot glue gun, add a little dot, you know, give it a little squeeze. I've been playing with so much hot glue gun, like I can touch the hot glue. So give it a second to cool, and then kind of give it a little squeeze when the glue is not hot, it's more warm.
Lovely. I love it. Great job, everybody. Thank you guys so, so much. Calder, thank you so, so much for inspiring us today on this Earth Day. It was so great. Yay. Oh, what
Oh,
is this?
fun. Thank
Let's
you.
see. Oh, Renee says earring. Oh, that's going to be an earring.
Awesome. I love it.
I love it. I had to highlight that. Yes, thank you again. And I hope everybody has the rest of a wonderful rest of their Earth Day. Let's celebrate Earth Day every day. Let's be more conscious. I know this is definitely, since I have met Calder, I have been much more conscious about my waste. And I have boxes of plastic lids for you and bags and goodies and all organized very neatly. So,
Well,
yeah.
I couldn't make my work without the community, and that's it really has another profound lesson in working with trash, not only to be a bird, but that my community wants to be a part of the practice. Oh my gosh, are those marker caps for me? Thank you. See, I can't make my art without people contributing to it. So thank you. Thank you. I love marker caps. See, I get really excited about trash.
I love it. This has been so great and uplifting. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you make more stuff out of trash.
Make stuff.
Make stuff. All right. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
And say bye. Bye.
Bye.